they have less of a footprint than some animals, not all, and they eat a feed that is not readily usable by humans. They're a hindgut fermenter, which is a pseudo-ruminant, and therefore they're able to make use of a lot of roughage that humans cannot, and therefore they can turn that roughage into high-quality protein.
So you said that it helps the environment because they're not running around?
Well, that's just one aspect of it.
Where would they be running around?
Well, like cows, you know what I mean, or like pigs.
You know that they're not native. That the rabbits that are being raised as domesticated rabbits,
yes.
the ones you have, the ones we put up for adoption,
yes,
they're imported from Europe. They're non-native.
They came from Europe,
and
yes.
They're not able to even breed with the local bunnies, so they're not a wild rabbit.
They won't breed with a cottontail?
No. Oh. They're a different species.
Than a cottontail, or
yes.
than a jackrabbit?
They're completely different. They cannot interbreed.
Than a cottontail.
Then at least the native bunnies here can't interbreed.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, they're not wild.
I'll ask my wife about that. That's interesting. I thought they could.
No, they're different because these guys were brought over.
No, I know they're brought
Europe
over, but
as,
they're
pets, fur, meat, whatever somebody wanted to do, but they're completely different. So in Europe, they can interbreed the domestics with those because they're more related. But here they can't.
Okay. Well, I'll check on that. I don't think that's correct, but it could be. I know they can't interbreed with jackrabbits. Jackrabbits are not a rabbit; they're a hare.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I was under the impression that they could interbreed with a cottontail, but they don't generally because they don't survive long enough in the wild.
Well, I know that your wife used to volunteer at the Petaluma Animal Shelter.
Mm-hmm. And wild care also.
Right. How do you guys, and I'm really honestly, genuinely curious, how do you guys reconcile one as a pet and one as the meat? Like if we don't do that with dogs in our country, or horses really as much in our country. So
I understand that, and I'm not necessarily advocating that we should or shouldn't do that with horses or dogs or any of the animals. But the fact of the matter is, we don't view them differently. In other words, human beings develop naturally, with animals at their side. Some of which they ate, and some of which they raised domestically and ate, even though they were also as pets. People raise chickens as pets, all the time.
Right, and a lot of people don't eat them after they raise them.
That's not the point. Some people do. Some people raise chickens as pets, and some people eat them. Some people raise pet pigs. Some people eat them.
I totally
so
get
it. So I just, in other words, I have no problem with people having pigs or horses or dogs or rabbits as pets.
In particular, when I see you, in some of the photos, you have a Dutch rabbit that you're holding. Pet breed, the same ones we.
They're a dual purpose breed.
How do you feel though when you have a bunny that is allowing you to sit and hold her, and then you have to kill her?
We do not feel good about it, but we feel like it's the way of the world. Okay, human beings were designed to eat meat. We have canine incisors. We have a digestive system that is omnivorous. Okay, rabbits happen to be the bottom of the food chain, unless you're talking about a mouse or a rat.
Well, again, they're not wild, so they're different.
They were wild in Europe. Okay,
right.
They were a wild species. All of the domesticated stuff was developed from wild species. That doesn't change it. Just because they got developed doesn't change it.
Do you feel that the human body has evolved any that we don't have to do that? We're omnivorous. We can make our choices.
Absolutely, and you're willing. And I have my daughter's a vegetarian.
Is she the one that got up and talked at the?
Yes.
Okay, so she said she worked there.
Yes.
But she said she was vegan.
No, vegetarian.
Okay. No wonder she was, because nobody I know would get up and say that, but that's beyond the point.
Yeah. Well, I know lots of vegetarians that have been out to our place and know what we're doing.
Totally not a vegetarian vegan thing. I just eat anything that walked by me.
Right.
But I am really genuinely curious about, because rabbits are so vulnerable. Yeah. And they're so sweet. And at least in this country, they're primarily a pet. I know everybody does their thing.
That's okay.
But Natalie's French. She doesn't eat rabbit.
No. You know, like I said, I don't have a problem with that. I am not out promoting that you should eat more rabbit and not have them be pets. You understand? I'm not telling you should not have pet rabbits.
Honestly, I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I mean, we are out there saying don't eat them. They're a pet in our country. I mean, I would
And
be
you're
dishonest
entitled to
if
that.
I wasn't saying
You're
that.
certainly entitled to that.
Why do you feel they should be excluded?
Well, for one thing, this is not true. Okay, that millions of bunnies will be killed because of that. There is no rabbit fur industry in the United States. I know the biggest rabbit processor in the western United States very well.
Right.
He throws away the pelts. He has nobody that will buy them from him.
Right.
The only reason we sell pelts is because we get them tanned ourselves specially. There is no demand for it, none.
Then why do we want to exclude them from the ban?
Because it makes sense so that I don't have to throw them away, and other people would not have to throw them away. I mean, there are other small producers who do it,
Right.
that tan their hides.
So you've been throwing them away forever, and
No.
now,
We have not, because
Okay.
we get them tanned,
Okay.
specially. Okay, but we pay extra for that, and that's an extra cost.
What is tanning them? I don't know the process.
That's just
What does
making
that
it so that they're soft and pliable, and they
Okay.
remain soft and pliable.
How do you get it off the rabbit?
You skin them like you would a deer or a
I
cow.
haven't skinned anybody, so
Well, you skin 'em.
I don't really know. So
Yeah,
you
you can probably find it on the internet.
So you
but-
I'm not going to do it. It's okay.
Okay.
So when you skin them, you have to keep well, obviously the skin is what keeps the coat warm,
Right.
Or the fur warm. What about the feet and stuff like that? What is the value for the?
Again, normally anybody other than a few small rabbit producers such as ourselves, they go waste. Okay, all of the larger rabbit producers, the ones that are producing them for in Midwest and up in Canada and over in Arkansas, pelfries and stuff. Virtually all of that stuff is going into rendering.
Right.
Okay, because there isn't a demand for it. Okay, and so that seems like a waste. We want to make use of every little bit of all of the animals we raise because we respect them. We respect the fact that they've given their life up for our sustenance. And so we want to be respectful and use every bit of it.
I understand that. When you said you're small scale, what is small scale?
We have about, a couple hundred does.
Well, how many rabbits do you slaughter a week?
40 or 50.
And how does that? You said there's a big demand in the restaurants.
Yeah.
So you only do 40 or 50 rabbits a week?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, I don't know why I got.
A lot of times we're sold out. We're sold out this week.
Well, no, I mean I understand.
No, we
that.
don't do hundreds.
So when you say sustenance, it's mostly for the restaurant industry?
Mostly.
Okay. Let's see, what else would I want to... Because I'm just fascinated by the difference.
Yeah, it'll vary. In the summertime, there's more rabbits, as you're aware. They breed more in the summertime.
How old are they when they are slaughtered?
10 to 12 weeks.
10 to 12 weeks?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
It's like a chicken.
I thought, so 10 to 12 weeks, so they're like less than 3 months old.
Yeah,
So
12
I thought
weeks
they
would
were
be 12
at
months.
least, I thought they were at least 6 months. or so.
No, that
Do
would
they
be a
have,
stewer or a
Okay.
roast.
Okay. Do they have any toys or anything to do? while they're in the
Yeah.
cage?
We give them grass and
Well, that's
straw.
food. But do you give them because they like to pick up a ball and throw it around. And
Which
make
some
noise.
of them have. Some of the
Okay.
ones that are more prone to that or that are bored. If we notice that.
They're probably all bored. They're in a.
Look,
They're in a
one of
cage.
the things that we use to evaluate them is how they're thriving, okay? And so, that's a function of somebody who has an expertise in this. And Marin's been doing this for close to, over 30 years.
Right.
And she's really good with them. She can walk through a rabbitry and identify rabbits that have problems or are, not doing well for whatever reason. And if she feels like they need something a little extra, then she'll do that, whatever that may be.
Do you know what that was behind?
No, I'm not. I don't participate in the actual production of rabbits as much as she does.
Okay. All right. No, I'm just curious because
Yeah.
I mean we clicker train them. You know, they play with toys and they run around
Well,
and stuff like
you know,
that. I know it's a different life.
Yeah, and that's fine. If you know, if somebody's got a pet rabbit, I would encourage them to do that.
Right.
If somebody's raising, you know, rabbits for meat, not necessarily.
I mean, can you understand that from our perspective? We do this for free in the county. We've rescued about 5,000 rabbits.
I think it's great. I think the rescue rabbits is fine.
I know, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But it makes it very hard for us to advocate and to improve their status. If people fight us and they're like, no, these are agricultural beings only. Because
Well, I don't say that. Okay, don't misquote me or my wife. We do not feel they are only agricultural at all.
Okay.
Okay, they are perfectly valid as a pet. We encourage that.
Right.
We love what you're doing because too many people have pet rabbits that then abandon them.
Then why does Mark Levine or somebody have such a one-sided view?
I don't know that he does. I haven't talked with Mark himself. I've talked to his staff, and they
Right.
interviewed me about that.
Right.
And I explained to them that I thought it made sense to not include rabbits raised for meat, just like it's not including sheepskin or leather products. You know.
Right. No, I don't wear leather.
Okay. But many people do. And
like I said,
yeah. I mean, to us, it makes no sense to exclude one species like that.
What about Rex rabbit fur? Do you feel that there's a market for Rex rabbits? Like they're plush fur.
Yeah. Oh, I know what Rex rabbits are. I love their fur.
Yeah.
We crossbreed them and we get some Rex pelts but not a lot. They're a dual-purpose breed also. They're really good as for pelts, but they are primarily a meat breed in this country. I mean, in a show that people show them.
Right.
And stuff, and that's fine. I mean, but there's no extra value to a Rex pelt after the animal's died, unless you tan it. And then you got to pay too much to tan it.
But a Rex rabbit coat can cost $3,000 if you do it right.
Do you know how many pelts that is?
How? I don't.
That's probably 100 pelts.
Well, that's not that much if people are breeding them large scale.
No, but the thing is, every pelt, first of all, has to be taken off the rabbit and dried, and then it has to be processed.
Right.
The processing is going to cost, $20, $30 a pelt. You take that times 100, plus the labor to make the coat, and I did.
But it's still a nice chunk of change.
Of
if
course.
you're selling a $3,000 coat and it costs you $800 to make it.
Well, I don't think.
I'm just throwing a number out.
Yeah, I don't think it would, but nobody's doing that in the United States. There's nobody doing it. Nobody. I would know.
But there would be. If
No,
they got excluded.
no, because it is excluded right now. Right now, I can sell Rex pelts all day long.
Right.
So that flies in the face of data and reason. Okay, just because you exclude it doesn't mean more people are going to be doing it. Because if more people are going to do it, they do it now.
Perhaps.
Nobody's doing it.
But I wonder if what we're thinking is it'll become an industry because it's the only one.
I don't see it. I can't see it. It's not worth it.
I know what I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Like I said, I'm
well,
really
you know where to find me. I'm
I
always
know,
here.
but it really upsets me. Honestly, it upsets me to see the parts of the bunny.
Okay, that's fine.
You're selling your property.
Yes.
People have said we should go buy it.
Sure.
We would buy all the animals. So that's
fine.
the
I don't
issue.
care.
Are you planning to move?
We don't know. I mean, it depends on what happens.
Right. I know you mentioned in the article that you have some rabbits that you sold up to Pengrove. Would you be starting? You said a breeder trio went up to a place in Pengrove.
Yeah, we do that all the time.
Would you be thinking of going where there's more need? Or
No. I mean, you and I are both old enough where we're not going to settle. That's not an option. We might continue in consulting. We've been doing a lot of work in Haiti, and something like that. But no, starting a farm.
But you might still stay in the industry.
Well, consulting.
Right.
Yes, that's possible.
Okay.
But,
do you have any questions of me? I'm sitting here grilling you with questions.
No.
I'm happy to answer whatever.
No, I mean, not specifically, other than I would I would ask you to try to be more accurate about this stuff. It makes no sense that more bunnies will be killed because of the ban than now, since it's not banned now.
Well, it does from an economic theory. And this is a debatable thing.
Why would they be cheaper than they are now?
Because it's a monopoly. There's no longer any other fur being produced in California.
Nobody's producing fur coats, period, in California.
Let's just say that there's a mink farm somewhere.
There isn't. But you're using hypotheticals that don't exist.
I'm sure somebody has a mink farm. Somewhere.
In California?
I don't know.
No.
Give me a hypothetical. Just give me the benefit of the doubt for a hypothetical.
Go ahead.
So there's no fur being produced anywhere in California.
Except.
However, then, and I'm just throwing stuff out there. Rabbit fur is excluded. You can, not you, but somebody could get luxury rabbit fur and make it California, organic, sustainable, raised in the sunshine of California rabbit fur. That could be a unique export from California.
Your hypothetical is a hypothetical.
Right.
It doesn't hold water. The reason there are not any large rabbit farms in California is because it doesn't work economically. Okay? We're doing it because we love doing it,
right.
And we have a little niche.
Right.
Nobody else in the state of California is doing it. The largest rabbit farms are producing them for zoos.
Right.
And I know those guys, and,
Right.
and lab rabbits,
Right.
which I don't really hold a lot of candle to, personally. But
no, but none of it is good. I mean, I see the YouTube videos of you talking about how to saute them and everything.
Well,
it's like, it's all the same. It's all the same. It's all a death. That's,
yeah, well, the lab rabbits, unfortunately, aren't a death. That's the point.
Right. What they do, they get donated to zoos.
Right.
Afterwards. At
Yes.
least they do in this
Yes,
area.
you're right. You are right. But the point is that there are no large rabbit meat farms anywhere in the western U.S. None.
So who else is fighting this? Who else wants rabbits to be excluded? If there's no other rabbit meat farms,
well, I think
who is there?
I think it's people that just are looking at it from a reasonable perspective, point of view. Which
who are they other than you?
I got approached by Levine. I don't know.
He approached you?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you said you talked to his person.
His person called me. I didn't even know it was a state thing. I know there was a San Francisco
one. Why did they call you? I'm sorry.
Because I'm a rabbit producer.
Yeah, but nobody called us and said, "Hey, you're a rescue. What would that be like?"
I can't answer that.
Right.
Okay. I can tell you that their office called me to get me to give an opinion on it. I didn't even know they had a state one going. They did the one in San Francisco,
right.
And I talked with Susan Fang, I think it is, about that, and Quesa, and we had a lot of discussions about that. And they chose to leave the rabbits in there, but they do not include the sheep and cows. And I think that there are many reasonable people who feel that that's not reasonable. That
but you don't know anyone in particular other than your own farm.
I do not know anybody in particular.
Okay, so this would be basically one farm. You guys.
I don't know that. I mean, there,
You just don't know of anyone else.
Not specifically.
Okay.
There are a lot of other small rabbit producers throughout southern Sonoma that we know personally. In the Napa, some in the East Bay that have a dozen or so does. People in the South Bay,
And a doe is a female.
Yes. Okay, and so many of them take, utilize, as we do, the pelts for various things. There's a lady up in Mendocino who does traditional skills, and that's one of the hides that she tans because they're the easiest.
Right.
Okay. So there are people doing it. I don't know that any of them have been contacted by their office or even know about the bill, because I didn't even know about it before Levine's office contacted me.
So they contacted you before that article came out?
Well, obviously, yeah, because I was in the article.
I'm just trying to make sure I understand that.
No, they called me and just asked. They said, "Hey, there's this going on. What do you think of it?"
By the way, I can see your eyes, but you probably can't see mine. I'm a big believer in eye contact.
That's fine.
As person to person, so I want to take off my eyeglasses so that we actually have a chance to meet, because we come up against each other and all these different things, and it's like, I'd like to be able to have a
I appreciate
conversation
that.
about it. it harms our restaurant.
Right.
You know, we don't make any money doing
Yeah,
this. We
no, I
do
understand.
this because we love them, and it just makes it really
Well,
hard.
we applaud that, and we have, you know, we oftentimes refuse to sell pet bunnies because there's too many of them that
Right.
don't get taken care of. We will not sell to pet stores at all, or anybody.
But
that,
they can't anymore.
whatever. We never did.
No, the kids can't, right?
Yeah.
What do the kids learn when they're in college?
Well, they learn about the animal husbandry part of it. They do not do
And
any.
you can put your sunglasses on.
Okay.
Don't worry.
They don't do.
I just wanted to.
Yeah, they don't do any slaughtering at all. They are not participating or seeing any slaughtering, which is not that we think it's wrong, but we are sensitive to different families' opinions on that. And but they do some of the time they'll work with the pelts in terms of making things out of them,
Right.
as did the Native Americans and other cultures. And so we encourage that so that they learn. We want people to know that their meat comes from an animal. We don't want to hide behind it. If you think bunnies are too cute to eat, you shouldn't eat them. Okay? Same thing with a pig.
It's not their cuteness, it's their sentience. It's their,
Well, but all the animals are.
well, that's why I don't eat any. But
Okay.
that's not the discussion.
Okay, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you feel that way,
Right.
we encourage you not to eat them.
Right.
But those of us who eat meat,
Right.
we believe all of the people that eat meat should acknowledge where that meat comes from, and that
I
includes
agree.
rabbits. So
I agree.
we don't hide it from the
I
kids.
mean, we always joke that if you can go out there and catch your own with no high-powered weapon,
Yeah.
you know, you're barefoot, you have a knife, and you're running through the
Yeah.
woods, more power to you than going and, sitting in front of a plate that's been put in
Well,
front of you.
I say to my deer hunter friends, I says, it's not a sport unless the deer have rifles.
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Now, Kinsey Sports, right? Kinsey Sport hunts, right? Steve McKinsey or Steve Kinsey or whatever.
Steve
his name
Kinsey.
is. Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Never at my place.
Okay.
I have other
I
friends.
thought you guys went way back.
Yeah, we've known each other a long time. He doesn't hunt at my place.
Right.
And I don't know for.
Do you know if he was involved in this fur thing?
I do not know. I doubt it. He's been staying clear of most of the political
All right.
stuff. He
'Cause
got.
we heard it was behind the scenes. That's a whole other thing, which I can't, confirm or anything. Have you ever lived with a rabbit inside your house?
Oh yeah,
as a
my
pet?
daughter's got pets.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does she feel about the pets and knowing that there's other ones out there? I mean, does she just look at it as that?
Well, again, it's what I said before. It's part of the natural process. So, I personally don't like animals in my house. Period. Okay, cats, dogs, rabbits. I don't care. But I digressed to my daughter, who wanted to have it, and she was responsible for taking care of it. We think that's a good thing. And she's wanted it to not get eaten, and that was okay with us. But in other words, I don't keep rabbits as pets personally, so I don't have that dilemma. Okay. So I can't say personally. I can say just how philosophically I feel about it. Okay.
It's more of like the joy of it versus
I don't have a
You're not
distinct.
an animal. Like you're not dying to have your animals inside your house. So it's just.
Well,
a
but
form of-
I
Yeah.
don't think dogs and cats were designed to be inside.
That's fine.
Yeah.
No
I
problem.
love my dogs and cats.
Right.
Okay. I just don't want them in my house. Okay.
What do you think about? I know you raise horses.
Yes.
And in a lot of countries they
They
eat
eat
horses.
horse meat.
Have you
I
considered
don't
doing
have
that?
a problem with eating horse meat. I have not personally. My wife has in France.
Right.
The horse meat ban is more harmful to horses.
I've
That
heard
ha-
that
that
they,
haven't.
they go to Mexico and
Yeah, and it was crazy. So you have you have consequences that are not considered.
Right.
And so the consequence of the fur ban, like I said, is a bunch of waste.
Right.
And I think that's just not good. But if I was in Asia and I was at some friend's house and they served cat or dog, I'd eat it.
I know. Well, other countries are so different here. Like, in Korea, they have a certain kind of dog, which is actually the same thing as a dog. Any other dog. It's like a golden retriever that's a cat and a golden retriever that's me. And they eat it, but here we don't.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And I'm not. Again, I don't have a personal problem with it. I respect that. The status quo. which is that people don't eat dogs and cats here, or horses.
So I have two questions.
Yeah.
And again, I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. I honestly do.
Okay.
Is it okay that we use this video? I want to give you the chance to say whatever it is you want to say so that we're not just sitting there saying...
No, I don't have a problem with using
Okay, I just
video.
wanted to make sure that, that was okay.
Yeah.
Would you like to donate your land as a tax write-off to SaveABunny?
If I needed the tax write-off, I'd consider it, but no.
Because, we would love to buy that piece of land, but we don't want you to take the money and go buy more land somewhere else and do more rabbits.
That's not an option.
We would be on that,
That's not an option. And we could make it a condition of sale. But we did approach Wildcat because they were looking to buy a very expensive piece of property that fell through.
Right.
And they never followed through on it. They never even came out and take a look.
I mean, right now, it's $5 million, right?
Yeah, but they were looking at $15 million.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was quite a bit less.
It's a bargain compared to
Well, and they had to put in a bunch of infrastructure, and I already got it all.
Right,
you
right.
know? So I don't know why they didn't even come and take a look.
I don't know, who knows? We're in real estate's ridiculous. But, I'm hoping you will have a Shazam lightning bolt and come over to our side and help us.
Okay.
It would, because it really does. I mean, we're just sitting here, we make no money doing this.
Yeah, I know.
And we specialize in trauma abuse, and we get these rabbits in all the time.
Well, we appreciate that.
If you ever have a bunny that you fall in love with, or your wife falls in love with, that you just absolutely can't slaughter, please.
Okay. My daughter might, but we don't. Yeah.
Have, please call us.
Okay.
We will
Well, we support what you're doing. Like I said, I'd really appreciate more accuracy in some of the stuff.
That's a good hypothetical, though. I mean, we have a Bloomberg analyst.
I don't think it's a good hypothetical, but regardless.
We can agree to disagree.
Yeah, I've also seen some other things that accused us of slaughtering rabbits in front of the kids. That was when that whole thing was going with the county, and that has never happened.
Well, we were told that kids had rape, and again, we could, this is why I appreciate asking you.
You shouldn't.
So when kids, do you have any sort of programs for youth that anyone under 18 that they slaughter a rabbit?
No.
So they don't raise a rabbit and slaughter.
No.
They learn no slaughtering.
No.
So no kids ever under 18 have ever slaughtered.
Friends of ours have, yes.
Okay.
But not, no.
So it's not an official program.
No.
Okay. It's not
Never.
official, but it's
Never.
But there have been kids. We'll be more accurate.
Yeah, never.
Yeah, we'll be
never.
more accurate
We do not, and it's a specific decision that we made, which is that we're not going to deny it. The kids go through the rabbitry. They know these rabbits are going to be killed and eaten.
Right.
If they don't, like that, they can do something else.
Right.
We don't force them into any of that.
Right.
But we want them to know. We want them to know that pork comes from a pig, and chicken meat comes from a chicken, and lamb comes from these cute little lambs. And we want that.
I think that's one of the best messages that people can get is meet your meat.
Yeah.
If you still meet a bunny or a lamb and you're okay with slaughtering
Exactly.
it, better than going to Safeway or better than going to one market.
And I feel exactly the same way in reverse, that if you come and you see the rabbits and the pigs and the chickens and can't personally get into agreement with the concept that you're killing these animals and eating them, then you shouldn't be eating meat. That's fine. I agree.
Yeah, like I said, this is not a vegan-vegetarian discussion. It's just, for us rabbits, we're trying to do our work, and it's like, so I appreciate it. Thank you. I really do appreciate it.
All right, well, good. Nice to talk to you.
All right, bye-bye.
Any comments?
No, I am grateful we had a chance to talk with him and to get a sense of how this all came about. And it's interesting to know that Levine apparently approached Devil's Gulch versus the opposite. So we'll have